Let's make healthy grab-and-go snacks and meals to keep you fueled throughout the day. No-bake protein cookies, Parmesan crackers, chicken, bean, and cheese crock-pot freezer burritos, and chocolate peanut butter cup overnight oats. Today's show is all about grab and go. We're gonna make some snacks and some meals that you can take with you on the go, which today is very important in our going society. So we're gonna make some Parmesan crackers that are grain-free. For this recipe, you'll need 1 cup of almond flour, 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/4 cup of applesauce, and 1 tablespoon of sweetener. We're gonna start with some almond flour, and that's what makes these grain-free. It's essentially just almonds that are ground up into a flour. You can get it at most grocery stores today. And then the Parmesan cheese is what makes these the cheese crackers that we love. It's gonna taste very comparable to Cheez-Its, but with a Parmesan spin. And then a little bit of sweetener. Believe it or not, most snacks, even salty snacks, have a little bit of sweetener in them, and that's just kind of what gets your taste buds going. It's just a little bit of sweetener. And then the applesauce is gonna bring everything together, a little salt, and a little baking soda. So originally, I created these crackers for Sean. I did not create them for my kids. He was buying Cheez-Its for work. So I would make him a sandwich and I would say, you know, do you want anything to go with this sandwich? And he was like, no, I'm good. And so after a few weeks of him just eating a sandwich at work, I was like, do you eat anything else throughout the day? Like, aren't you starving? And he's like, no, I buy some snacks and I just eat those at work. And I'm like, what kind of snacks are you eating? So all along he was eating Cheez-Its at work and I didn't even know it. And here I'm making him like organic bread and I'm making him this healthy sandwich to take to work. And I'm like, well, don't you want like an apple or something? Like something to go with it? So I was like, you know, Cheez-Its are really not the best option. They're not bad every once in a while, just like everything else. If you have something in moderation, it's not gonna hurt you. But if you're eating it every single day, there are a lot of additives that really are not great. So I was like, we have to make you a healthy Cheez-It cracker. So this is something that you can take with you as a to-go snack. You can take it to work with you on the go. You can take it in the car if you have kids. This is the perfect on-the-go snack. And really my whole entire thought process when it comes to cooking these days is really all about how can I get my kids and Sean to eat even healthier because they have a lot of things that they still enjoy that aren't necessarily healthy. So I'm always thinking about, okay, how can we take that and not just totally cut it out altogether, but how can we make it in a healthier way? And that's really how I live my whole life is I'm not about just totally cutting things out. I'm about replacing it with something a little bit healthier. So that's how I came up with these grain-free Parmesan crackers is I just was thinking, how can we replace the Cheez-Its that you're eating every day at work? So I just put 2 pieces of parchment paper together and you could see that I just kind of rolled them out so that they're about the same even thickness. And then we kind of rolled out into like a rectangle shape, but you can do any shape as long as it's kind of, again, even size when you're rolling it out. Then I'm taking a pizza cutter and I'm just creating some lines to make about the size and shape of a cracker. So we'll do lines one way and then we'll flip the parchment paper and do the other. And then if you wanted to, you could always take a fork and you could do the little dots in the crackers just to make them look a little bit more like a Cheez-It or a typical cracker. But you could definitely skip this step. And that is kind of like the key when it comes to kids. You have to make things look pretty close to the original that they know and love so that they'll actually try it. But we're gonna bake these 350 degrees for about 12 minutes. The key with these though is you'll want to take them out of the oven at 12 minutes and separate them. So you can see how they're still touching. That's fine for now, but when you get them out of the oven at 12 minutes, you'll want to take a knife and kind of separate them loosely with a knife so that they're kind of not touching anymore. Then you'll put them back into the oven for about 5 to 10 minutes, just with the oven turned off. So you just want the oven hot so that they crisp up the rest of the way. So they will not be fully done at 12 minutes. That's just so that you can separate them. And then they'll get nice and crispy when they sit in the warm oven, and that's when you can pull them out and you can enjoy them. And they're good at room temperature for about a week if you put them into a Ziploc bag or a sealed container. And like I said, these are the perfect snack to take with you on the go. Now we're on to one of my kids' favorite grab-and-go snacks, which is no-bake protein cookies. And if you've ever had a no-bake cookie as a child, you probably know what I'm talking about. These are like the quintessential kid treat. For this recipe, you'll need 1½ cup of oats, 1/2 cup of oat flour, 1/2 cup of peanut butter, 1 cup of protein powder, 2 tablespoons of honey, 1/2 cup of sweetener, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 cup of water, and 1/4 cup of chocolate chips. And my kids love them because they're cookies, but I love them because they're made with really good ingredients that I can feel really good about, as well as protein powder. So I know that it's gonna keep my kids fuller for longer. And I'm gonna tell you guys a little story about some snack situations at our house. So basically, my kids love snacks. I'm sure every single mom can understand. It's like, how do you get them to stop eating the snacks and actually eat the meals? So I had that problem as well, along with most of you moms, and I just was finding that my kids were eating a ton of snacks, and then they would take 2 bites of their meals and they would run off. And in fact, while I'm cooking this very cooking show, my kids are eating tons and tons of snacks to keep them busy. And sometimes that's what we're guilty of as moms. Just keep them busy as long as they're happy. But we know that that's not really the best thing for them all along and in the big picture. So then what do? They get to the meal and they eat 2 bites of their meal, and then they run off and they say, I'm not hungry. And so then the problem is, it's like, okay, well, you're filling up on snacks. So what I started to do is, unless we're in a special situation like we are this week filming, you know, I really try and keep snacks limited. And the reason why is because at the end of the day, that's gonna fill up their very little bellies really quickly. And then they are not interested in eating a meal. And so, you know, if I am going to have a snack on hand, what I try to do is have a snack that's a little bit healthier, so that if they really do need something, then we can pull out a healthier snack and have that instead of, you know, a processed treat or something from a package. And this is something that you can take with you on the go, because it is essentially just like a protein bar, but it's in the form of a cookie. So your kids will absolutely love them. And you don't have all the store-bought ingredients that come along with protein bars. Okay, so we mixed all of the ingredients together, and then we're gonna add water. Now, the key with any type of no-bake treat is add the water last, and that way, if you need to add just a little bit more, you can. And then sometimes, because of the protein powder, you might need to add just a little bit more. Some protein powders are just a little bit more dry than others, and it kind of absorbs all the moisture. So as long as you have just the bare minimum, you can always add more. And then just enough water to bring it together so that it's like a cookie dough. So make sure you get all of the ingredients mixed together. That's why I'm doing my hands, because it comes together so much easier if you just get in there with your hands than a spatula. So what we ended up doing was not only making a few healthy snacks, but also I ended up leaving their meals at the table on a plate. So let's say that it was lunchtime, they ran off to go play, and they're like, I'm not hungry anymore. I was like, okay. So I would leave the meal on the table, and then the next time they came around for another snack, I would say, oh, your lunch is sitting at the table for you. You can go eat that. So that became the new rule. Until you're done with your meal, you're not getting another snack. And so that really has helped them from just resorting to snack after snack after snack. So, but sometimes you are on the go, and sometimes you need something when you're on the go, and that's not really the option to leave a meal on a plate. So when you need something and you're just in the car, you're going from one sport to school to another thing, these are a great snack to have on hand. Like I said, they have tons of protein, and then the oats are high in fiber and good carbohydrates and healthy fats in the peanut butter. So they're gonna fuel your kids much better than a bag of chips. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll these out just until they're about the shape and size of a cookie, and you can kind of just press them down gently. Then you'll want to stick them on a surface like a baking sheet pan, a plate, whatever flat surface you want to put them on, and put them in the fridge for at least an hour, and they'll firm up pretty good. And then you can keep them in the fridge for up to 2 weeks. So like I said, this is something that you can make ahead, you can grab and take it with you when you are on the go. Coming up next, these burritos are made in minutes and packed with flavor with all of the goodness of your traditional cheesy burritos made healthy. So now we're on to one of Sean's favorite grab-and-go meals, which is our Crock-Pot cheese and bean burritos. These are really, really easy to make because everything's done in the Crock-Pot. All you have to do is wrap it into some tortillas, which is my favorite kind of meal. For this recipe, you'll need 2 pounds of chicken breast, 2 cups of chicken broth, 1 can of diced tomato with green chilies, 1 can of pinto beans, 1 can of refried beans, 1.5 cups of shredded cheese, 1 can of salsa verde, and 12 tortillas. So we have some chicken that we've already cooked in the crock pot. We added some chicken broth to some regular old chicken breasts. They can be fresh or frozen. We cooked them for about 4 hours on high, 4 to 6 hours, until they're totally easy to shred. So I shredded those up. Those are sitting in the crock pot. You do want to, when you shred the chicken, discard the extra broth when you're gonna make the rest of the burritos. So we just have our chicken that we've already cooked in the crock pot. Then to that, I'm gonna add some refried beans. And this is what's gonna kind of hold everything together. That and the cheese in the crock pot is gonna warm up and kind of melt together. And then the filling is gonna be really easy to kind of spread onto a tortilla and make a burrito. Some salsa verde. If you don't like salsa verde, you could also just do diced green chilies, and that'll give you kind of the same flavor as salsa verde without the kind of acidic flavor that it has. So either or you could do some salsa. Diced tomato with green chilies and some cheese. Super simple. And I will say, if you are making this for kids, I would probably leave out the green chilies. A lot of times, even though it's just mild heat, kids they're much more sensitive to the heat. So just diced tomatoes or salsa would work in place of that. Then we're just gonna stir everything up. And I do like to have a few things in my freezer for a grab and go situation, because we come up with those a lot in our family. If anybody has kids at home, they probably know what I'm saying, where you just have unexpected moments where you're like, I gotta eat something on the go. After all, we just don't have time to sit down for a meal. So that doesn't happen too often in our family yet because our kids are still little. But there are times when you just have to take something on the go, especially for Sean because he works outside of the home. A lot of times if I don't have something prepped, I'll just pull one of these out of the freezer and send him to work with one of these. So it really is a good grab and go meal option. So I'm gonna take some of the filling from the crock pot. You could see how easy that was. Just dump a bunch of things in. Chicken's already cooked. And then we're gonna make our burritos. And we're just gonna do that with some tortillas. You can buy organic tortillas, almond flour tortillas, whatever you like. And you just roll it around the filling, just like that. And then I'll go ahead and put them just on the sheet pan just for now. Now, if you want to bake them just for about 5 to 10 minutes at like 350 degrees, you could do that just so that they get a little bit crispy on the outside. Sean likes when I do that. Or you could always melt a little bit of cheese on top as well. There's plenty of cheese inside, so Really, you don't have to. And then if you do bake them, you just want to make sure that they are completely cooled if you decide to freeze them. You don't want any extra moisture or else they will get some freezer burn. So just make sure that they're totally cooled before you freeze them, and then you can package them up individually. And that's what I do. I just wrap them up in some parchment paper, and then Sean heats them up at work in the microwave. So these are a really good grab and go meal. And I will say, one of the things about being on the go is that is probably my least favorite things about busy seasons, is just being on the go all the time. For me, I find that that's when I feel anxious the most, is when we're always rushing thing to thing, on the go all the time. So I have found that I do much better when I purposely plan in between busy seasons some times of just being still, being quiet, and resting, even if that just looks like a family game night or a family movie night, just in between all the craziness. Because if we don't have times of pause, that's when I find that I am just not at my nicest as a mom and a wife. And in fact, there was a situation recently where I was taking Maddie to school. Ollie just got up from, bedtime in the morning. And I was like, okay, well, we're just gonna rush him into the car. We're gonna get him up straight from his crib and we're gonna head out to school. Well, I didn't really give him any downtime to rest before he got up. And I was rushing him, I was getting him into clothes. We gotta go. And Maddie's like, we're gonna be late. And then of course, I totally lost my cool with the kids. And then I dropped off Maddie and I felt so guilty. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm the worst mom ever. So I called my mom on my way home and I was like, I'm just the worst. I just totally lost it on the kids. And then I get home and here I am feeling like the worst mom. And Ollie, very first time he had ever done this, he talked to our speaker system and he told it to play worship music. He's only 3 years old. And the fact that he all on his own put on worship music to play, it was like God's little nudge to me in that moment to make me realize, oh my gosh, I'm doing the main things that are most important right. And yes, I'm not perfect, but what I've learned is I really can't be holy in a hurry. So whenever I find that I am just rushing around and I am just getting really in a hurry, I just need to take a moment and just talk to God. Even if it's a 2-second prayer where I just say, God, please just help me to have some grace in this moment and just to slow down, because we cannot be holy in a hurry. So I'm gonna go ahead and just toast these up in the oven for about 5 to 10 minutes, just so they're lightly golden brown on the tops. Then I'll let them cool, like I said, and put them in the freezer for a great grab and go option. Coming up next, continuing with our grab and go theme, chocolate peanut butter overnight oats are packed with protein and fiber filled, with grains to keep you fueled all morning long. Well, we're finishing up our grab and go show with some grab and go overnight oats. And you might have already had or tried some overnight oats, but these one take the cake because they are Reese's peanut butter cup style. So they are not only chocolate peanut butter overnight oats that we're gonna put into a jar, but there's also a peanut butter chocolate hard shell that goes on top. It is absolutely divine. It tastes like dessert for breakfast. So I know you're gonna wanna make this one. We're gonna start with some old-fashioned oats, of course, because it's overnight oats. Then instead of protein powder, I'm using peanut flour, which I really like peanut flour over protein powder a lot of times because it has a peanut butter flavor. It's also a little bit more moist. So I find that sometimes protein powder is a little bit dry and it just adds a little bit more moisture. Cocoa powder, that's where we get our peanut butter and our chocolate flavor. And then a little bit of actual peanut butter. which adds some staying power, some healthy fats to your breakfast. And I always eat something that's really, really yummy for breakfast. I don't know how people can just have a plain bagel with cream cheese. I'm like, you could have dessert for breakfast. Why not? Maybe that's because I love dessert though. I've always found that keeping my breakfast consistent and healthy has helped me so much, especially in busy seasons where I am on the go all the time. Even when I had my kids, when they were newborns, even if I had time for nothing else, I would make sure that I had a consistently healthy breakfast every single day, because I find that consistency is really what keeps you healthy in busy seasons. It's not about being perfect, it's about consistency. So that was the way that I did it, is I just made sure that I started my day with something healthy, and then that helped me kind of stay on track the rest of the day. So these overnight oats are definitely something that you can make ahead of time. They stay good in your fridge for up to 5 days. So you could make a whole 5 jars of these. I'm just gonna put it into 2 mason jars that you can seal with a top or a cap, and then you could literally take them with you on the go. And what I like about overnight oats is it really is a good combination of healthy fats, proteins, complex carbohydrates, so it's a good fuel for your day as well. But I just love how delicious and easy these are to make. So a lot of times for breakfast, I will do a smoothie, a protein shake, yogurt bowls, or overnight oats. But I also love having breakfast cookies. I think I'm just a sweets person, obviously. That's like all I make for breakfast. And I also love to have some frozen pancakes or waffles in the freezer. From time to time, I'll make a big batch of those, and that way I can just heat them up. You can't take those on the go as easily though. So something like this or a shake would be perfect if you had to take it in the car. So here's where we do the chocolate topping. We have our chocolate and our peanut butter that I melted just a little bit, and then we're gonna stir them together just until they're combined. Okay, so that looks really good. All that is melted and mixed together. So then we're gonna put it right on top of our oats. Now our oats look very liquidy at this point. Do not be afraid, it will not stay that way. You want that because the oats are overnight, and this is why it's overnight oats. They are going to suck up all of that liquid and that moisture in the milk. So you want that to be a little bit of a liquidy consistency right now. And then, like I said, overnight in the fridge, it's gonna be a nice thick oatmeal that you'll be able to enjoy in the morning. So you wanna just kind of spread that over the top of the oats. And then when you put this in the fridge, it's gonna harden up and it is going to be delicious. You kind of break into it almost like if you have a magic shell on top of your ice cream, if you had that when you were a kid. And it just is so delicious in every bite of these overnight oats. They're packed with protein, but you'd never guess it because they taste like dessert. Perfect for on the go. Well, today we made a few different options that are perfect for grab and go, depending on the meal and the season that you may find yourself in. My biggest piece of advice is to always have something that you can take with you that's healthy and grab and go whenever you find yourself in a busy moment, day, or season. If you'd like to find these recipes, you can head over to dashanddish.com where you'll find recipes and more to nourish your body and soul.